Hello. Circle message. Hi, y'all. It's me, Lana, your resident diva, here to give all the tea, teacup emoji. And I am so happy to have you here with me. Heart emoji, smiley face. Hashtag Circle Fam. I can't wait to talk to you more about the episodes, and I hope you all have a wonderful time talking about the circle with me. Hashtag Circle Fam. Hashtag we're all in this together. Love. Rainbow heart emoji. Sin.
Circle message. Hey everybody, it's Esme. I am really excited to be talking about the circle again with you guys on this podcast. Hashtag Circle Fam. Hashtag Cup Crew. Hashtag love you all. Cup emoji, circle emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji, circle message, send.
Oh, and circle message. Shout out to Logan, who couldn't be here because Logan was not feeling the best. Well, needed some rest, needed to sleep. So shout out to Logan for holding down the cup when others couldn't, and taking a break because he needed his own rest. So Logan, we love you. Hashtag Cup Fam. Hashtag Cup Crew. Love that. Stealing that. Hashtag we love you and we miss you. Rainbow heart emoji, smiley face emoji, star eye emoji, kissy face emoji.
Heart eye emoji.
Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the cup. We are here. It's me, Lana, with Esme, like we said. And we're talking about, of course, the circle. The week before the finale of the circle, I guess. Because we get the finale on tomorrow when we're recording this today. So we'll get it tomorrow. But we're here to talk about the last 4 episodes of the circle. And where we left off
was such a cliffhanger.
We were getting this antivirus passed around to people from person to person. And it came down to Alyssa and Carol. Carol and Alyssa, with Brew having to make the decision. Now, we all know Brew was
both of these people.
He loved both of them.
This was his worst nightmare.
Worst nightmare ever.
It's like, it would be like if I was in circle, it was you and it was you and Logan. I'd be like, what the fuck do I do here?
It's the sickest thing. But you choose me. That's why you're here. Right. Final 2. Period. It was his very personal hell he was in, because he has a close relationship with Carol because they bear a cup. He's her little bear cup, but she's Mama Carol. And then her and Brew and Alyssa were like in a throuple, in a circle relationship, if you will. And so he had to choose basically between his mama or his girlfriend. Sick.
Yes.
Oh, but
I do not envy him in this situation, but I will say I do think he made the right choice for his game here.
For his game, I agree. And with that being said, Alyssa gets blocked third because Brew picked Carol to save.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
heart emoji to Alyssa. Alyssa played this game so well. I was a fan of Alyssa. I really thought Alyssa is one of those, she was such a strategic player, and she took copious amount of notes. She remembered everything. She was putting together, she was always right in her assessments about people. And so I really appreciated Alyssa's gameplay throughout.
She was a really great player. I feel like we got a lot of fun players this season. Mm-hmm. We talked about it earlier. I feel like this season is, like, for me, this is the only season I saw, but like in its full extent. But this was a really good season to get into, and I'm excited to be like season 5 and 6 when they come out. You know,
right?
I think this is like, will go down as a season, like when there's more seasons. People are like, what season should I start with? I can see people saying start with season 4.
Yes,
but because I think this is a good one.
Yes. Because it, even in the gameplay, it wasn't ugly. Like, none of it was ugly gameplay. Everything was very strategic. Nobody was like bashing people horribly that was outside of game that made it feel personal and like
it didn't get nasty.
Yes, it wasn't filthy nasty like some other plays, some other seasons. You're like, oh,
or some other
shows, so you be like, ooh, that like, wasn't necessary.
I think to like BB with like that, with like the camp comeback season, like that season was nasty.
That was nasty. Mm-hmm. But Alyssa is, speaking of BB, I felt like Alyssa is somebody who I would love to see on Big Brother because I think she would play a stellar game. She was playing Big Brother in the circle, and which was kind of interesting to watch.
I feel like I could totally be wrong, but it feels like to me like Alyssa is someone that was like a huge fan of Big Brother and like applied a few times, didn't get on, but then like applied for the circle and got on.
Yeah.
Like, that I got that energy from her. I could totally be off basis with it.
It could be off base, but it just seems that way. She just gives off that energy like, I'm a fan of reality and I know what I need to do to, you know, maneuver my way through this stuff. And she did an excellent job. Alyssa was amazing. I was sad to see her go, but I understood why Brew made the decision he made for himself.
And I also think it was a sigh of relief for the other contestants because she was such a good player.
Yes.
Like if I was there in Alyssa when I would have been like, okay, well that's one less like big threat, like big person moving forward that I have to worry about. Like,
yeah. So after Alyssa has been blocked, she decides she's going to go and see Brew. Now, because I at first assumed like she was wanting to know why Brew decided to pick Carol over her, and you know, and maybe be a little
going to go do. But I think when she saw Brew, what she was doing was changed.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I do feel like seeing someone for the first time, meeting them face to face, somebody you've been talking to, and then you realize that not only has this person been real too, like they were actually playing themselves, but you can honestly see how tortured he was making that decision. And so I feel like she kind of just shifted, was like, it's not even worth it anymore to be upset. But she did not give Yuling that same courtesy because she was very upset with Yuling, but not upset with Brew.
I'm like, my issue with how this went down for Yuling. Like, I have my issues of like, I mean, like, I think as a person of color, I always tend to read race stuff, and also being a woman, I tend to like that too. Of it's like getting more of the blame because it's easier to blame a woman of color in these situations. I'm not saying that's what's happening. It's just that's something that will always come up for me.
It will always come up for me too. It will always come up for me. And I'm sorry
because also in the circle chat, they never talked to. Brew didn't get reamed for it either.
No,
like the other contestants, it was all really went to Yuling, except Brew made the same decision of not saving Alyssa.
Right. And
for Yuling had more, like she said, there was more opportunities after her for Alyssa to get saved. There were after Brew literally was the reason Alyssa went home, technically. Like,
technically.
And yes, Yuling played into that, but there's also a thing that'd be like, if Rachel had, like, you know,
I think I agree with you on that. I will always go there too. That's always in my head. As a woman of color, you always think in why is it? That's how we have to think. I'm sorry, white people, if we make you uncomfortable with that thought.
I don't care for making you uncomfortable.
Honestly, that's just the life.
That's what we have to deal with. So like
on a regular basis. And so, and and that's the privilege that you have, that you don't have to think about that. So take that into consideration. But the fact that Alyssa was very upset with Brew, it was like, you know, well, not upset with Brew, upset with Yuling, because she's like, Yuling could have saved me. And then Brew, that just gave Brew, to me, it gave Brew the easy out to say, well, because Yuling didn't save you, I felt like our throuple wasn't a thing. And I'm like, no, maybe you could have felt that way with Yuling, but why would you feel that way about Alyssa?
Right, because Alyssa, no. There was, And I will also say, I don't know how it would have gone if Alyssa went to go see Yu Ling. Would have that energy shifted, and she would have been more upset with Brew because she didn't see Brew.
Right.
You know, like
who knows?
that could be a thing. And I feel like I'm the least upset with Alyssa in this situation of what's happening for Yu Ling than everyone else. Like,
Yeah.
because Alyssa heightened emotions. She's like just left the game, and she could only talk to one person. She could talk to two. If she could talk to also Yu Ling, I'm sure her process would have been different.
Yeah, I agree, but Alyssa's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Alyssa's gone. So this is where it gets interesting for me, because the aftermath, like we hinted at and we talked about it, how everyone else reacted towards Yu Ling afterwards. Mm-hmm. Because after Alyssa's message and everybody sees Alyssa's Alyssa, she's who she said she was, and mm-hmm. she makes a comment that you can't trust people who you think are your closest allies, which was obviously a dig at Yu Ling. And mm-hmm. everybody knew it. And even Yu Ling knew it. She was like, oof, that was for me. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Look, if I was Alyssa and my allies did that to me, I would be upset with both of them. I just felt like her being more upset with one is not fair to the other. And not the other.
You can't get fully upset with Yu Ling when he didn't save her either.
Right.
Like, there's comments that he says, like, well, like, you could have saved her too. I'm like, yes, but you
could have too.
And for Yu Ling, you have no idea what Yu Ling's relationship with Rachel is yet. You don't know Rachel at all because you haven't had conversations with Rachel.
Exactly.
Yu Ling has. And, you know, this game is shorter. This game is not like as long as Big Brother, you know? Or even like Big Brother UK, which I feel like the UK version is probably more like this. With like, people coming in.
Yeah, the Circle UK is like 20 episodes long, or 22. So they have a whole lot more people coming in.
And like when people come in, that you do kind of, I feel like, stay more loyal to these people, to your original people. But I feel like in the Circle, you don't have to, because again, for all they could know, Yu Ling could be talking to everybody, and everybody could be a catfish but herself. You don't know that. Like, they could all be lying to her, and she has no idea, you know?
The only thing you could do in those moments is just trust your own gut in that situation. And in that moment, Yu Ling felt like Rachel needed to be saved more than Alyssa because, and I agree. I feel like
Rachel would have gone home.
She would have gone home. Nobody would have saved her but Nathan. And the only person who would have saved Nathan was Brew.
Mm-hmm. And it was really, really smart for her, in my opinion, for her to save Rachel, because it really gives Rachel, like, okay, I can really trust Yu Ling here, because the only person Rachel was really trusting besides anyone at this point was Frank.
Yes.
But now it gives her the ability to trust Yu Ling, and I think Yu Ling really was actually, despite everything that was against her, these episodes, was able to move really, really, really good in this game.
I agree.
And forward, which, like, great for her.
Great for her, because like in the Circle chat, we get Carol actually coming for Yu Ling a little bit, which I was like, because Yu Ling had mentioned that she was sad to see Alyssa go, and that's not what she really wanted to see happen, but it was what it was. And Carol was like, well, you could have saved it if you want, you know, just along those lines of, you know, stepping back at Yu Ling. And I'm like, interesting. Why you felt the need to say something to her in that moment was very interesting.
I also feel like for him, it was throw everything at the wall to see what sticks, because he was the last person saved.
Yes.
Meaning he is completely on the outs here.
Yes.
Like, I think if in Carol, in his mind, at least this is kind of what I was getting, was like, let me throw all this shit onto Yu Ling, so Yu Ling becomes the main focal point, and I can maybe squeeze by and stay on the round in the Circle.
True, that makes sense. Then that's true, and I get it. And but see, I loved it. I mean, I don't mind seeing that kind of side of Carol, and to see Yu Ling going right back at Carol, like, well, I did what's best for me.
Like one of the only people that wasn't upset with Yu Ling in this episode, like he said something, I was like, it's a game, you can't trust everybody, like, and that's the thing. you can't trust everybody in this game.
You don't really know.
And it's like, Frank and Yuling weren't this close at the beginning of the game.
No.
But now they are, because I think in this game, specifically this game, is the most important to get the last word in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Because it's always whoever you talk to last is the person you want to keep.
Right. And because you can't read social cues, it becomes that much more important.
Yes, agreed. So after that, after Circle Chat was over, everybody went and started doing their own thing. We got a lot of one-on-one conversations around the circle. Brew and Yuling talked because they felt they needed to talk and maybe try to rekindle. I guess Yuling wanted to do damage control because she wanted to explain to Brew why she did what she did. And Brew was open to listening because he knew he needed to keep as many connections as possible with he needed the numbers, and so he was very much open to talking to Yuling and hashing things out and rekindling what they had. And they ended on a great note. They were both like, we're good, you don't have to worry about me, I'm good, blah blah blah. Then we got another conversation of Brew's with Frank, because Brew hadn't had any conversations with Frank in a while, and he really felt like he didn't know if Frank was playing, the the portrait thing that happened too.
Right. There was also the fruit war thing that happened. Like, where I don't even know what the point of that was.
That's why I left my mind. I didn't understand.
There was literally no point to, except Yuling ran the most out of everyone. They all thought it was Nathan, which, like, obviously.
No. Obviously no. But yeah, Yuling ran the fastest, which is crazy. So they got a trophy. All right, big deal. Move on. It was just a pointless piece of information that happened.
It wasn't even like, oh, these people get, like, I don't know,
a party or some,
or they get to talk to each other, but the rest of the 4 can't talk to anybody else.
Right. No, it was nothing.
That would have been fun.
Right. It was nothing. But okay. And so then, more conversations happen. The portrait happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no. The portrait didn't happen yet.
This is why we need Logan.
Because I remember, because this is not when the portrait happens, but because the portrait happened after the next blocking. Mm-hmm. So cool. The fruit thing is what happened, and that's what happened.
Usually, there's after blocking some form of activity. Or bringing in new contestants.
Right.
But they're not doing that right now because it's over.
It's over.
And then it goes to the next blocking. But this little section of, like, entertainment was nothing to me.
Yeah, it was just that.
I think that's why we both
it was just kind of glossed over and went on to the next. But yeah, it was a lot of talking, a lot of flirting between Ashani and Everson at some point. Mm-hmm. And then Yuling sliding into Nathan's DM. That was a moment. It was that. But the ratings happen. We get alert happens, and it's time to rank the players. And as it goes, we know, Mama Carol
gets 8th.
Get 8th,
which I was fine with.
I was fine with it too, but
I will say I didn't expect one person do as well as they did based on what was happening.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Mama Carol gets 8th. Nathan gets 7.
Yes, I believe so. Yes. Nathan 7, and then Brew got 6th, I think.
6.
Yeah,
and then Brew got 6th, and then Everson was 5th.
Amani got 4th.
Amani got 4th.
And my favorite 3 got top 3,
which was perfect for me. Great. I was like, yes, my top 3.
Yeah, we have the same faves right now, and I'm glad.
I do. I was like, okay. And so then Rachel.
When it was those 3, I thought it was going to be Yuling getting 3rd, Rachel getting 2nd, and Frank getting 1st.
But Rachel ends up getting 3rd,
which surprised me. Not because. it more surprised me because I thought Yu Ling was going to get third more than I thought Rachel was going to get second, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But the top two are influencer Yu Ling and Frank, with Frank being the top influencer and Yu Ling.
Kind of surprising. This is the first time we've gotten this combo as the top influencer.
Yes.
But
they've both been influencers twice, but this is the first time they got it together. So kudos to Yu Ling and Frank.
Also, can I just mention, I loved Yu Ling's outfit. Like
the orange, the corset.
Yes.
Yes.
And it matching her hair. Like, Yu Ling is like, style-wise, is amazing. Like,
I just love watching Yu Ling go through the process of getting ready and putting on her makeup, and like she's very meticulous, and like she don't have to do that for nobody in the circle. Ain't nobody seeing her, but she does it every day.
She's doing it for herself.
She's doing it for herself.
What I love so much about it is it's like it really feels like she's doing it for herself.
Yes, she's like, look, I'm gonna get up.
And yes, you can do your makeup for yourself, bitch. I do not care what any of you fucking say.
Yes, you can. It's nothing wrong with looking pretty for yourself.
Yeah, it's a form of self-care and love. And
yes,
you know,
if it makes you feel good, do
it. If you're not seeing anyone in face to face, I would be doing that shit too. Like,
I mean, and it gives you time, like, because you're by yourself, you have nothing else to do, you don't have TV, so you just have like books or whatever and puzzles. So putting on your makeup is a thing that takes some time away from the day. It's good.
Yeah. Yes.
Why not? Why not do that? Look good for yourself. So Frank and Yu Ling are the influencers this time, and they have to go to the hangout to block somebody, and
they both have to go in the chat and say who they're saving, right?
Yes, that was the thing. When they get to the hangout, they get another alert. And they like, wait a minute. I don't remember getting alerts when we were down here before.
Mm-hmm.
But they got an alert, and now they have to save. They both get to save 2 people, leaving 2 people vulnerable to be blocked. Yeah. And so then they have to do it in front of everybody. Everybody has to go to the circle chat, and they have to say who they're saving in front of everybody.
So as the top influencer, Frank gets to pick his choice first. So he picked, unsurprisingly, Rachel, because they're in a alliance of 3, very tight.
Right.
To be honest, I feel like if this series had like a final 3, it would be them. To be honest, like
I agree. And so then Yu Ling, she chooses Brew to make up for Alyssa and show him that we're still in this together. I still got you, which was a smart move for Yu Ling.
Yes, and because she can still save who she wants next.
Yep.
It's not like she can only save one of the 2, which is the issue that came up for her in the first thing, is she could only save one.
Exactly. So then Frank, on his second save, decides to save Amani. No surprise there, because they are like, they're friends. Yeah. So that was beautiful to see. And so, go ahead.
Yu Ling, this isn't surprising. Yu Ling ends up saving Nathan,
which is good. It is not, like you say, it's not surprising, and it's a smart move for her again, because she needs Nathan to know that she still has his back as well. Period. And so it comes down to Everson and Mama Carol, who are on the chopping block. And so the or whatever block, the circle block, the chopping block. They get pleas to Yu Ling and to Frank of why they shouldn't be blocked. And Everson gives his plea, which is very nice and, very heartwarming plea. He's saying he doesn't want to leave. He's having a good time here in the circle. He loves meeting everybody. He's having a blast. And it would suck to have to go home right now when he has done things for people, Yeah. Gently reminding Frank that, hey, I saved you. So.
Right. And then Carol's is fine. The thing that I laughed was, I've always been authentically myself every step of the way. And it's like, no, you have not.
You have been inauthentic since you walked in the door, but okay.
the twist is that Carol and Everson go to like the meeting room.
Yes.
And they are there together with one of them being blocked.
Now I thought what you mentioned this the last time we talked about the circle, yes. What you thought, and what is when I watched, I was like, that's what I thought too, that they were going to let them be blocked. And then the other one would just join in as they knew. But I'm like, but they closed the circle, so
I feel like most seasons, there's been, from what I know, there's been two people leaving at the same time, and they come in as one. They come back as a person.
There's one, right?
And I thought that would have been great for as a twist for the virus thing, where when it comes down to Nathan instead of just saving Brew, then was like, Nathan, you must save the last person. The other two
will be blocked.
And it's like they're shocked because, again, it phrased it in a way where it didn't seem like one person was going to go.
Right.
I think that's what was like frustrating to me, is that there's been a lot of phrasing things in this game where I'm like, it just, yeah.
But you know what I thought also? I was like, but then they couldn't do that because Everson is in the room, in the apartment with the two rooms, because he got the Spice Girls' old room and they had the two rooms. So if they would have broken up, put Alyssa and
either they would have had to move him to one of their rooms in some
that would have been crazy. Then he would have been suspicious, like, why are y'all moving me? And it would have caused some doubt. So yeah,
that's suspicious.
That's weird. Now I have to move. Why am I have to move?
I mean, that could also be a fun twist though. Is one random point they all switch houses with a different contestant, like they all switch apartments with someone else.
But see,
I mean, I don't know how that would work.
No, because see, you can't take your boards, and what if you leave your notes behind? No, thank you.
It would fuck up. Like, I think it would fuck up Alex. Like a lot.
Oh my god, that board, and even Alyssa had the sticky notes, and other people have boards. That would mess up people.
And even if it didn't tell you what name that you got, like if you were smart enough, you could be like, this board has everybody's name on it except for Nathan. Or why does this board say Alex instead of Nathan?
Right. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Don't do that. Don't screw them up that bad. That would have been horrible. Horrible.
I know that, it would be a great moment for TV, for like the show, but I would not want to be part of that twist.
I would be, if I was a contestant, I'd be pissed. I would go to the producers so mad, like, y'all did that on purpose. Yeah, no. So bringing it back to what we're talking about. So after the pleas, Yiling and Frank have to make their decision on who they're going to block, and they made their decision, and the person they blocked was Mama Carol. Not surprised, because Carol did just snap on Yiling not too long ago, and Frank don't know. Both of them think she a catfish, which she is.
And she's been on the outs for like the last few weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, Mama Carol is out of the circle and blocked from the circle, and there's that. Then we move on to the next morning, and Mama Carol gives her goodbye message. The only person who knows of Mama Carol's true identity is Everson, because Everson met him.
Right.
And so everybody else was like shocked, not shocked, because everybody had their suspicions that Mama Carol was a catfish. But when they saw it, it was still a shock, like, oh, this 24-year-old guy named John, who is Carol's son. And so
they knew he was a catfish, but you don't know who the catfish is. And so it's always be surprised when you see the person behind the real
Exactly. And Mama Carol is just like, I think these same messages are like regurgitated in different ways to say it, but don't trust everybody. Everybody's not to be trusted, but you know.
Basically, I know all I knew she wanted to say is "Don't trust Yu Ling," and then just
exactly. Don't trust Yu Ling because Yu Ling is, but she can't say that. But right. Yeah. So everybody gets this circle chat and it's like, OMG, it's Mama Carol, it's Daddy Carol. What? Oh my God. But everybody's also like, but we already kind of knew.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody was shocked to see Brew say, Brew was like, I had my suspicions, but
girl, shut up.
Yeah, I was like, you had your suspicions, but you saved her, whatever. But I understand because this game is not about fishing out catfish. This game is not about
This game is called Hunt the Catfish. This game is called The Circle. I don't care if I make it to the end with someone who's a catfish as long as I've connected with them.
I beat them in the end. I just need to know that I can beat everybody who is left in the game. I don't need to have it. You can be anybody who you want to be in this game, and that's fine. I just need, if you are on my side, catfish or not, I'm keeping you around.
Right. I do not care. And I would have been like, I didn't care that she was a catfish.
That is exactly would have been what my statement was. Like, I knew Carol was a catfish, and I did not care because I trusted Carol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that was it. I wouldn't even live with. I had my suspicions. Like, boy, by you, because ain't nobody gonna believe that. I just like I knew it, and I didn't care because she was riding with me, and whoever they were, they rolled with me, so I was riding with them. Period.
If it was Mama Carol, if it was some dude from finance, I don't care.
I don't care. I do not care. That's something like if I ever go in the circle, I'm not going to spend my time hunting for catfish. I do not care.
It's just a waste of your time, to be honest, for me. Like,
who cares if you're a catfish? Are you riding with me?
Catfish in this game is, going into the game, do you think being a catfish will help you or hinder you in the game? That's the most important thing.
Exactly. So everybody's like, yay, Carol's, sad to see Carol go. This is the third OG member that has left. And
isn't it the fourth?
Fourth? Oh, yeah, fourth. Every player who has left the circle was an original.
Yeah.
Came in first. Oof.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oof.
Interesting. This season has been very interesting with that.
That trend, because that has not been the trend in other seasons. I know you said you haven't watched, but that is not the trend in most seasons. It's usually the OGs are like, we got to get these newbies out of here because we don't want many newbies to come in and form a group to start taking us out. So we just keep taking them out and we stay and we'll fight down in the end.
It wasn't like an us versus them mentality, I feel like. Which
it wasn't.
Fun to see.
It was nice. I enjoyed it. So after that, we get the portrait game.
Which we talked about like 20 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago, but finally back in order. We're doing the portraits, and the portraits are being done in anonymous mode. So now everybody's like, I can do what I want, and some
the time to cause some shit.
This is
Talk some shit. Or paint some shit.
This game in every season has been the pot stirrer of the season in every season, because you always have what happened this year. You have some people who will play nice. Some people, Frank, play nice. Rachel, Yuling play really nice.
But and then you got people who don't get played nice with, like Yuling and Rachel.
Yuling did not get played nice with. Frank did not get played nice with. So
did really either.
No.
Half of them were nice, half of them were not.
Yeah, it was a good balance of not nice.
It's my favorite three were the nice ones, and the other one else were not. Right.
So Frank had
Everson,
and he just painted him on a boat. He's the captain, whatever. Nice.
Yeah.
Yuling had Brew. And she painted Brew as a cupcake and said he's just a sweetheart and he's a sweet cake. There was Brew. It was nice. It was pretty. The painting was gorgeous. I was like, oh, look at Julie, an artist. But she does her makeup like she's an artist. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And then Rachel had Amani.
And it was just hot mama.
Right. She was just hot mama. She's just gorgeous. I mean, she loves Amani. So she's like, yeah, Amani's a hot mama. She's great.
Yeah. I don't know if it looked like Amani.
But look, I am the last person to talk about anybody's artistic skills because I can barely draw stick persons.
Well, maybe I took art classes, so I'm a little bit more qualified.
I am just not qualified to talk about anybody's art at all. I
tried someone who's more qualified. It was shit. Her painting was shit. Her trying to launch her painting was shit. Her trying to wear that painting was shit. She's shit. No, I'm kidding.
Stop it. Rachel, they didn't mean any of that. They didn't mean any of that. They didn't mean any of that. We will not. Because I want Rachel to watch us. Because I love Rachel.
I love Rachel too.
But yeah. Then Amani had Nathan? Yes. Amani had Nathan. Mm-hmm. This is where it started to get a little ugly.
First up was Brew with Rachel.
Oh, Brew with Rachel. Oh yeah, because it was
out of the nasty ones. This was the least nasty.
It was like nice nasty.
It definitely wasn't as positive.
Right.
It was like spilling the tea, but I feel like Rachel, because Rachel doesn't really care.
Right. Rachel tells
the best way possible.
Rachel just tells everything, and she's like, "Look, I'm gonna be honest." And when she said, "I'm gonna be honest," the tea is about to be spilled, and here at the Cup, we love some tea getting spilled. So yes, Rachel, yes. But it was Rachel spilling the tea, and it had made people start thinking, does she tell everybody secrets, or is she just going around talking so much? Mm-hmm. Blah blah blah. It wasn't the nicest, but it wasn't the meanest. It wasn't.
They definitely got worse because
then we had Nathan with Amani's with Nathan, and Amani
was not the worst, but definitely not best. And I think this was the first time that anyone brought up the idea that he was a catfish.
Yes, which also lets me know that Trevor is actually just very in tune with what is going on in this game, because just out of a couple of conversations that Amani had with Nathan, she's just like, is this a 22-year-old boy or a 45-year-old man?
Also, not Nathan having that exact shirt.
That was the funniest moment to me for seeing Alex go, has somebody been in my apartment? I have this same shirt.
Right. And then also Yulin going, if I've been flirting with a 45-year-old man and I told him to take it off.
I'm like, okay. Okay, so Amani, you're half right. Sure, he's not a 22-year-old boy, but he's not a 45-year-old man.
He's in the middle.
He's somewhere in the middle. But does he have the abs that Nathan has in his pictures for Yulin? No. But is he an old, gross 45-year-old man? No. He's still rather young. He's still spry in his life. He got some years ahead of him. He had more years behind. He still has a whole lot of years behind him. So he's good. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be because he's not a 45-year-old man.
What you need to be about is he's in a relationship.
He's in a relationship with a woman he's very much in love with, whom, by the way, I adore. Nikki, love you, girl.
I love you. I love her so much.
I love her so much. But I was about to say it was interesting that, like you said, this was the first time anybody made any mention of him being a catfish, which means he's doing his job. So good on you, Nathan Alec, for doing that.
I scrolling through the episode, just kind of on mute, popping up images.
Mm-hmm.
Yuling's makeup in this as well is great. It's like the yellow fire.
Yes.
With the blue. It's like yellow. It's like a yellow graphic fire liner with blue in it, and it's just great. And her makeup is just great.
She's fabulous. Then we go to, speaking of Yuling, we go to Yuling's portrait by Everson.
Mm-hmm.
And Everson has made Yuling
look like a fucking demon.
Like eating a big corn demon. Just it was very. Oh wait, no wait.
Hers is last because I think hers was last just because
it had to be.
The circle producers like let's put them in from best to worst. Like
yes. So
like how they'll be received wise if that
yes. So okay, so let's go to Nathan's with Frank.
Nathan with Frank is
a snake.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a snake and saying Mr. Nice Guy or
Mr. Nice Lies or something.
Mr. Nice Lies, something like that. Right. Like it made Frank out to be someone who he's not trustworthy. He's not someone you should he's playing this up for the cameras, for the game, which it's part of the game if he is, but whatever. So Nathan is doing that and Frank is not happy. Everybody is like, whoa, not you coming for Frank like that. Who did that? And Nathan hopes and wanted it to hopefully be Frank to think it was Brew who did it. Mm-hmm. Because he's like, I don't want Frank to think it was me. I want him to think it was Brew. And we'll see how that works. We'll talk about how that works later on. Mm-hmm. And then we get to Everson's a picture of Yuling, which we already said is the demon eating corn. It's just like fake flirt.
Oh Lord, I will eat you up. Like
it was just very nasty and mean. And with everybody in the circle, like, oh my God, that is so mean.
What are you doing though? Like seeing that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see that for me. Mm-mm.
I wouldn't want to see that for me either. I would, if that's how people see you and portray you, it's like, oh. So Yuling thinks it might be Nathan because of the fake flirt. She's like, I wasn't faking flirting with anybody, blah, blah, blah. And it was just bad. People did not walk away from this portrait thing feeling like great.
Yeah. And Frank says it. The top 3 players had the worst pictures. Which everybody was like, which he thought probably was more strategic than anything. Because, and I can see that. And Yuling says, the only person I can fully trust right now is Frank after that. Because Frank wouldn't do that. Frank wouldn't.
Frank wouldn't do that. And this also planted a little seed of doubt in Rachel about Yuling as well, because Rachel was going back and forth trying to decide if she just trusts Yuling, if what she been getting from Yuling has been authentic and genuine. And
it does seem like she gets over that, which I'm glad about.
Yes. I feel like you have to go through those. You have to process things,
because again, you can't talk to them in person about it.
Right. And when you see something, it's like in a game where you're by yourself and all you know is what you know. It's like, do I trust what I've been seeing, or am I getting played by this person because they're just giving me what they want me to play, and then they're just doing, dogging me or playing me behind my back? But Rachel went through that process and she was like, I don't know. She talked to a few people and she was just like, I just have to figure it out. And in the end, she came down to the fact that Yuling has never done her wrong. And so she just has to trust.
Saved her, it just saved her.
Right. Like actions have shown how she is. And so she was going to trust the actions of Yuling instead of what other people are saying about her.
Which, great. I think it was the right choice.
It is definitely. And I always think that about people. I think you should always, like in life, just generally based on your experience. Sometimes
colors.
Right. Because sometimes people will, like I say, people eventually show you who they are. So once they show you who they are, you believe that. But if they haven't showed you anything that makes you go, ooh, then right now that person's fine with me. Like I can't be mad at, like, I'm not the kind of person who gets mad at somebody because my friends are mad at them. If that person has not personally done anything to make me upset and make me go, I don't want to talk to you no more, then you're good.
I would evaluate it, obviously. Like,
exactly. I'll be like, what is happening? And then it's like, okay, cool.
And well, if it's like, oh, this person like hit me with their car, I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I won't be friends with them just because they haven't hit me with their car.
Right.
Like, you know, like
right. It is definitely levels of
Let me write that down, babes.
Right. Levels of
mental note, babes.
Right. Like, sure, you haven't talked about me or you haven't called me crazy or nothing like that. So maybe I could still too. But you called my friend crazy because they were doing some crazy stuff and they didn't like it. So now they're not mad at you. And it's like, okay, that. But if you call my friend a racial slur
or like this, like something like, yeah,
or
like
any slur,
right? Like
any slur. And I'm like,
if you were like, oh, this person that we've like played a few minis with, Lana, call me the N-word or call me the T slur. You'd be like, okay, let me not be friends with them.
Exactly. In a moment, it's like, no, those are the things I'm like, nah. Like I will block somebody for disrespecting people and feeling like you don't have to answer to the consequences of your actions. But I am not going to block people just because my friend disagrees with the fact that they argue because they didn't like the same person on the circle. I'm not going
to be like, oh, you're upset with this person because they voted you out of a mini?
Right. Everybody voted everybody out of the mini. I'm not going to be mad at that.
You voted each other out of minis. And look.
Right. I voted you. You voted me. It's like, it's okay. It's a game. Period. Right. We move. Right. We're not going to do that for over silly stuff.
But we played I Did Vote for You to Win.
And I should have won, but you know.
It should have been me in favor and you winning.
Period.
Because that would have been a great wrap to that series, too.
Bam, bam, bam. Anyway, we move. We won't talk about that. But
this is not. Hi, Lewis.
Hi, Lewis. Hey, Bertram. I still should have won, but okay.
I see you.
I see you. Oh, and Darian, I see you for not voting for me. But okay, I'm not going to be mad at you, though. I ain't going to be mad at you. Oh, I'm not. And I'm not going to tell Esme we got to block him because he didn't vote.
I already did. No, I'm kidding.
But, yeah. So, so Rachel decided she's going to go with her gut. Everybody else, we have more conversations throughout the day. Brew and Frank had a conversation because Brew felt like he hadn't talked to Frank in a while. And they needed to reconnect and maybe figure out. Brew wanted to figure out if this Mr. Nice Guy thing was something he should worry about or what. So he talked to Frank and he was like, because Frank usually just gives me the nice side. He never gives me anything else, which I can also say for Brew, because I feel like Brew is the person who gives everything and gives nothing at the same time. So Brew and Frank's conversation turned into a very good moment for Brew and Frank because Frank opened up about losing his parents and how it affected him throughout the day, his life, and how he goes about his life now being positive because he's like, life is too short to, be down about things. You just have to be grateful for every day that you get to live on this earth, and you have to be happy and positive, and you just make life happy. And so he just showed Brew that this Mr. Nice Guy thing is not just for this show. This is just who he is. This is how he has to cope through life when you don't have. And as someone who's lost both of their parents in their life, you do, because it can get so down and it gets so hard when you have to realize that the people who brought you into this world and cared about you the most is no longer there to take care of you or no longer there for you to call. It's a hard thing to swallow. So you have to some people either let it take them down or they learn from it to say, you know what, I have to live my life to the fullest because you never know what's going to happen next. And Frank has chosen that path. And so he's Mr. Nice Guy acting the positive vibes act. It's not an act. It's just who Frank is.
Yeah.
And so Brew left that conversation feeling very good about Frank. And he was like, you know what?
I have one question about the circle. How don't they hear each other when they scream? And
I think they're on different floors. I swear,
or they have soundproof walls or some shit. Because
it has to be soundproof walls because
how don't they hear each other?
I ask that same question every season. I'm like, because these people are not soft, and they're not like, they're just like, who? Oh my God. Like, if I'm next door, I'm like,
it's like, I'm the only woman in this chat. Like,
So
like,
I think they have soundproof, and they have them on different floors and different corners, and it has to be.
Probably not all in that, like the outside of the building. They're probably not all in that circle part.
Yeah, no, I don't think they could be. I think it's because even when they show the circle part and when they're doing their parties, they're on different floors and different levels. So maybe they're just.
I don't know. I don't know because I feel like I would still hear like someone from right above me.
Look, in my apartment, it's definitely not soundproof, so I hear everything that goes on from my neighbors upstairs.
If they're soundproof, I want to live in the circle apartments because they're soundproof.
Right. If they're soundproof, that's where I want to live because I hear everything. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want to hear everything anymore.
Yeah, that's like my biggest question is like, how don't they hear each other?
It's crazy.
We'll have to ask like Alex.
I will. We were definitely trying. We're going to reach out to Alex to see if we come on to the cup and talk about his experience in the circle. So if we get him, we'll ask. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a question I have to know. I'm like, how can we hear each other?
Right. So, after Frank and Bruce's conversation, we have other conversations with them people. Nathan and Rachel end up talking, I think, for a minute, and Everson and Monty's. It's just a lot of conversations happening before we get alert. Oh my God, alert.
Oh my God, it's an alert. What is it? We've never gotten an alert before in this game.
And so we do the ratings. We do our ratings, and
also because this is before that, because this is the ratings, and whoever's rated last gets instantly blocked here.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah.
And before that, though, we did get home video messages.
Oh yeah. How could I forget? Yes. All the home video messages, and we get home video messages and Thanksgiving. They give a circle Thanksgiving dinner, and the circle gives them dinner, and it was nice.
Filmed around that time, like around Thanksgiving. I don't know.
I don't know either. It could have been.
I don't know. Just like interesting.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, I think it could have been. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but would not be surprised if they kind of filmed like in like October, November time, like frame.
Right. It would be, but they do a circle Thanksgiving. They give them a nice Thanksgiving feast outside of their doors, and then they surprise them with the videos from home, and it was very sweet. Everybody was crying. Alex got a message from Nikki, which I was like, "Yay, Nikki! Look at you! I know, beautiful! Like you look beautiful." And Yulene got hers from her mother and sister and brother-in-law and their nephew, which is cute. Frank got his from his two besties in the world and the dog. Brew got his from his parents.
Yes.
And Rachel also got hers from her parents. Trevor, of course, got Delisa and the babies, of course. And Everson got his mom.
Was Trevor's Delisa's on?
Yeah. Delisa was the winner.
When she got her video message, I don't know.
Yes. Trevor was, and it was Trevor and their first daughter.
Okay.
She was a baby, and so when she was on there, she got his, and then now when he's on there, he gets her, and so it was nice. It was nice to see them talk about this experience that they both can say they've experienced in their life, and it was great. Now we'll see if the same outcome happens for Trevor that it did for Delisa. We'll see.
We'll see.
So then we get the rankings are in, and they get who we will find out. Whoever is last,
because we only get to know who's last because
instantly blocked.
Because this is the most important rankings of the season.
This is the most important ranking of the season. So instantly,
a little bit of this. We see Yulin get placed first by two different people.
Mm-hmm.
She gets placed last as well.
Mm-hmm. So
this averagely puts her more in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But what ends up happening is it's revealed that
unfortunately for the reveal,
it is Brew, which, interestingly enough, the last three people in the safety chain went out back to back to back.
Yep.
Alyssa, then Mama Carol, then Brew. Does that mean something?
It means an alliance is successfully working.
Yep.
That's what
that alliance is.
It is Frank, it is Rachel, it is Yulin, and it is Nathan. Because Nathan is inadvertently in an alliance that he didn't even know. Mm-hmm. Because before we've mentioned Nathan with Brew, Nathan has decided that he was going to throw Brew under the bus to Frank. That was another conversation that we meant to talk about.
It was a very important conversation.
Right. Nathan told Frank what Brew said about Frank, which was not a lie. Everything Nathan told Frank is something Brew actually told him, and told him that Frank was the influencer and Frank was in a group chat with Paul and the boys would go stick together, and then Paul was kicked out of the circle. Right.
And nothing was marked this close to his chest until he was like, okay, this is a very important one. I don't want to go out. It's me or Brew, it really seems like. Because it felt like it was him or Brew.
It was out. I don't understand if people didn't watch when Nathan / Alex walked into the circle. He had on his shirt strategic AF. That is not just a shirt. That is who Alex is as a player. And he's very strategic. Like you said, he held his cards close. He remembered what people said, and then he realized who had more pull, Frank or Brew. Frank obviously had more pull in this game. And so he was like, I can't be Team Brew. I need to be Team Frank. And so in order to be Team Frank, I have to give Frank some information. And he gave the information to Brew, which inevitably happened where Brew is now 5th blocked because people just rank Brew either in the middle or last.
He was, because I don't think anyone put him first.
Nobody put him first.
Which, in this one, is...
It was important that somebody should at least put you first. You would want that. Or is second.
Yeah.
So Brew is gone. And Brew has decided he wants to go meet Nathan. Which I understand. And he's very shocked to see that Nathan is not the Nathan in the picture, but Alex.
Yeah.
Who is not a 45-year-old man, but is not a 22-year-old frat guy either.
No, he's neither.
Neither one of those. And so Brew is shocked. Brew is shooketh that Alex is who he's seeing. He's like, who are you? He's like, I'm Alex. They talk. Brew was going to be mad at first. He was going to be upset, but he was like, he found out that Alex spilled the beans and told him everything. Told him how he told Frank about their conversation, how he threw him under the bus to Frank and all this other stuff. And he was like, I should be mad, but I'm more impressed than I am mad. So I'm
because he walks him over to the board and shows him everything. And he's like, and Nathan's like, or Alex and Nathan is like, I feel guilty, but I want to win. Like,
right. And Brew can do nothing but respect it because that's the whole purpose of everybody coming into the circle. Nobody came into the circle saying, I don't want to win this game. Everybody wants
that same leeway to Yulin, please.
Right. It's like, I want to win, so I'm going to do what I have to do. So you can't do anything but be impressed by what he did and how it was successful. So Brew wasn't mad. But then, as soon as Brew leaves and everybody thinks everything's good and done, alert! Alert!
Alert.
Everybody's like, wait,
and
circle.
This is why this is where the other part of these rankings come in and make them very, very important.
Yes.
What ends up happening is we get a super influencer.
This is not the first time this has happened. They have done super secret influencers every season before. So we knew it was coming, but we didn't know it was going to be a double when it happened. Mm-hmm. So the super secret influencer had to make this decision on one person to block.
And who is in the finals? So the super influencer ends up being, congratulations, Frank. So Frank ends up getting a spot into Final 5.
Yes.
And then Frank has to then choose who else he is bringing.
And it's crazy because they let Frank know that the circle will never tell anybody that you were super secret influencer. So they won't ever know. They were just going to add him along the finalists.
Because it does in a random order.
Right. Because they say that in no particular order, these are the finalists of the thing. The first one pops up and it's Rachel.
Not surprising.
Not surprising because Frank is a super influencer.
And
then Rachel's like, yes! Oh my gosh! I was happy. And then the second person to pop up was Amani.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised. It was yes, great.
And
the
then
third person pops up is Frank.
Again, not surprised
because it's him. He's not going to send himself home.
Imagine
the gag. Frank says, "I want to go." No, sick.
I'm like, okay, you're my. And then again, I think not surprising. Yuling
is the next one.
And then they leave us on a cliffhanger between, is it going to be Everson or is it going to be Nathan being brought into the finale?
Yes, and that's where we left off because
it's definitely smart to leave it as those two, because anyone else, if it was Rachel and like Alex or Everson, you know who's staying.
You know who's staying.
You know who's staying. If it's Amani,
you know who's staying. Yeah, it was smart to do the way they did it.
Mm-hmm. For cliffhanger reasons.
For cliffhanger reasons, yes. But yeah, so we're left till tomorrow or later on in a few hours for when the circle drops. So we'll know the finale. Who is going to get the final spot in the finale between Everson and Nathan? Esme, I will ask you, who do you think is going to get that final spot?
I think it's going to be Everson.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
This will also be the first blocking where it's not a day one.
Right. Because Yuling and Frank were it.
The only day one blocking that it could have been this episode would have been Yuling.
Yeah.
But that would have been so out of left field and so fucking confused. Like, it wouldn't have
I would have been lost. I would have been lost.
I would have been pissed. I would have been pissed and lost.
Lost and pissed and like, what? No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I think it might be Everson because I still think Frank feels like he might need to owe Everson for saving him. That seems like the kind of person Frank is. Like, if somebody does something for you, you do something for him.
I think I would bring Everson because I feel like Everson would be easier to beat at the end.
I agree. Because he's very, very new. Nathan at least has been here for a while. He's not an OG, but he's the second round.
And even though he's newer, even though Amani's newer too, I feel like Amani's slightly higher than him.
Yeah.
I feel like it would make sense to bring Everson because Everson has already went up. I feel like it just like I want Nathan to be there because I know Nathan, but like I think game wise it would make more sense to bring Everson because I think it makes the path easier for Frank.
Yeah. And I think at this point you have to start thinking about what's going to help you.
The last move,
right? Like, so
how does, because I haven't watched it, how does the final ranking work?
So they all will do another ranking, and the ranking before meeting each other.
Okay.
They'll do a ranking before they meet each other. It'll be like a normal day in a circle. It's like they go to the rankings, and this is who you rank is who's going to win. Mm-hmm. So whoever's the top rank is going to win the whole thing.
So they'll rank whoever in last they want to get last, or whoever they think will fuck up the rankings enough to get them higher up.
Yep, it depends on how you were playing this game. If you're playing with your heart and you're playing with, I want this person. If it's not going to be, I want this person, then great. Then you'll put, like, if I wanted you to, if I'm like, look, either me or Esme wins.
Right. I think if I was in that situation, I would put you first, and then I would game-wise the other.
Exactly. Who I want to win, if it can't be me, I will put them first. And then everything else, I'm gaming. Like, who I don't want to win, put them second. And
or
then,
who I think is going to do the best.
Right.
Like, just like, who I think is the most, like, social, like, wise. I would be like, okay. Even
they
though
need to go at the bottom.
I think you have the best shot at winning this game based on your play. So I'm going to put you fifth, even though I like you. Like,
right. I'm going to put you last because I don't want you to win.
Right. I want to win.
I want to win. So yeah, I think that's how I would play it. But we'll see how these players do it on their.
I think this season will be more. We will be more friendly wise.
I agree. I think the finale is going to be more friendly wise as well, because I think nobody has any ill feelings about anybody leaving.
I think the only thing that we might get is something between Ulyssa.
Ulyssa. Yeah, I think Alyssa will want to ask Alyssa. I mean, Alyssa will want to ask
Alyssa why Alyssa didn't save Alyssa.
Right. Alyssa will ask Elaine why she didn't save, blah, blah, blah. I think that might be the only thing. But I think this cast in general is going to be very nice and pleasant. And it's going to be a good finale. I can't wait.
I'm excited. This is a really fun season.
I'm so glad that you got into this season and were able to watch it. And now it's like, now you can be hooked on it like everybody else.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We got a few hours, I think, before the finale drops. And then we'll be back talking about this finale.
Right after it ends. We'll be back in 4 hours. Okay.
No. I will be asleep in 4 hours. Very much sleep. But yeah, we'll be back to talk about the finale of The Circle. But you all know what to do. We thank you for coming. We thank you for watching. We thank you for appreciating watching us and following us along. Hit the like button, subscribe, all of that on your way out. And I already screwed up because I have not put this up the entire time. But it's okay. It's fine. You know what to do. Follow the Cup at the Cup _reality on Twitter, and follow Logan, myself, and Esme if you just want to follow cool people.
Logan, by the way, because
yes,
with 2 N's.
Yeah. Follow us. If you want to follow some cool people, we're some cool people to follow. You'll enjoy us. Our content is nice. So follow us in there. And Esme, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I've been having a blast.
It's been great. And we'll be back for the finale. It's great.
I'll be back for the next season, whenever that is.
Whenever that is. Look, we might even get you into like the other country circles, because those are amazing. Because I tell you, I watched Circle Brazil, loved. Circle Brazil, love. Okay, so.
All right.
But on that note, we love you all. We thank you. We appreciate you. And cheers, my love.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Circle message. Goodbye.
Circle message. Hashtag Circle Fam out. Peace. Bye.
Bye.